I think we as moms always want to buy our kids the best gift, the gift that's going to pique their interest and keep their attention and like just stay with them the entire year. So what I figured that I would do today is share the gifts that I've gotten for my sons in the past, the toys that they keep going back to again and again, in hopes that it may give you some different gift ideas for your kiddos and also kind of give you some ideas as to what I particularly look for when I do buy toys for my sons. So my sons are currently 5 and 7, but I have gotten these different range of gifts for them over the past couple of years. So keep that in mind as we go through some of these gifts. But one of the things that I do like to look for is, are the gifts more open-ended? So it's going to allow more imaginative play. So the first thing is these wooden train tracks. We had quite a few that were a hand-me-down from different relatives, and then I ended up purchasing like separate trains and tracks and different like building materials to go with them. And even though my sons have gotten much older, they've gotten several years of play out of these, and they now will also like mix their other toys, like their Hot Wheels and their Legos, with the train sets and build like these really elaborate like towns and, you know, and tracks and like things that weave around all the furniture. So I would say that I did find that having a large assortment of these is really helpful, like, you know, curves and turns, not just like straight pieces. The larger assortment that they have, the more imaginative play. It is helpful if you have a large area where they can actually expand their track versus if you have just a really tiny, like, you know, area available to them, then it really does limit, I think, their imagination. So I have had them take this up to like a separate room in the house that I'm not going to be vacuuming for several days at a time, and then they can actually have it and kind of like build on it as they have more time to actually devote to their play. Now that they're in school, they haven't spent quite so much time with this activity, but I do foresee this activity being something that they, you know, pull out when they have several days off at a time, because they'll just have more hours to devote to creating a landscape of trains and tracks and buildings and people and all of that. The other thing that my sons asked to do almost all the time, especially my 5-year-old before he was in school, is kinetic sand. So the kit that they have is this one, which has the construction set, and it came with a couple of different attachments. So it came with a crane and like a bowling ball, not a bowling ball, but like a demolition ball, and a tractor to make bricks out of. Now, the kinetic sand that I did see this in the reviews, and I have to say that they were very accurate, is that the kinetic sand that it came with was not enough to fill this complete tray, and all of their attachments are like in a separate box because it was really hard to keep the attachments and the sand all together. So the kinetic sand that it came with was not really enough to fill the box. So I did purchase extra kinetic sand separately. So this is just like an off-brand. It is very similar in texture to kinetic sand. But then what I did with this assortment is I ended up getting these little take apart tractors. It came with one tractor, this one right here, so that way you could make little bricks with them. But then we purchased all of these separate little take apart tractors, and these came with screwdrivers. And what I like about these is that because you get so much sand, you know, it's stuck in here, they could actually take these all apart. We could take them out, we could put them back together, we could reassemble them. So these came with 3 different little tractors. So these were a huge hit, and that's why we keep them separate from the other kinetic sand box. It's just like it wouldn't all fit in there together. But if your kids are not super into the tractors, or if they are into the tractors but they're also super big into dinosaurs, we also have these little take apart dinosaurs that they use in the sand as well. So these, one thing that I did find a little bit annoying about these, there were 4 of them. Here are all four, and you can rearrange them because you can take them apart and you can put them, you know, like in different matching orders. They don't all have to go color coded. But what I did find a little annoying is that the screw that works with these almost looks like the exact same shape as these little take apart tractors. So if you can see, like right here, right there, even though they're almost the exact same size, they're just different enough that the screwdriver for these doesn't quite fit in this one. So you can make it work, but I did find that a little bit cumbersome now that like they had mixed the pieces together. So just be aware of that if you decide to purchase both. These did come with an electric screwdriver as well as an actual like manual screwdriver like this one. So these had a little bit more options with that, so that was nice. So my kids don't play these quite as much in the tractor sand or kinetic sand as often as they do the tractors, but my 5-year-old, they get to take one toy to bed every night, and my 5-year-old will fairly often grab one of these or several of these if I'm being a little bit more lenient.
Triceratops upstairs, my parents' office upstairs, if you lost the water's upstairs, and the T-Rex upstairs.
You want to take all of those upstairs to bed?
Yes.
So these are a big, he really likes these. He's super into both of my boys are super into dinosaurs, so they really have enjoyed these. If your kiddos are a dinosaur lover like mine are, another thing that they really enjoyed was they got this dinosaur kit, because the dinosaurs that we've had prior to getting this kit were like all just like dollar store dinosaurs, and this one came as there were 12 in this kit, and it also came with a book. Now the option that we had with like purchase, it was either you could get it with the book or you could get it with like a landscape that you could like pin or put up on the wall and then like have, you know, a backdrop to play with your dinosaurs. But we chose the book option. They had like a kid voicing all of the buttons, but the kid would say like how to actually pronounce all of these names. So that was really helpful for me as the adult, like not being super familiar with these dinosaur names. Like, how do you say like Pachycephalosaurus? And it's really cute kind of hearing like my kiddos now like say all of the dinosaur names. And then they came with, of course, like 12 different assortment of dinosaurs. Now these were a little bit smaller in relation to like the dollar store dinosaurs. Like I'll show you the size comparison. So like here is a T-Rex from the assorted box, and then here is a T-Rex from the dollar store. So you can see like they're significantly smaller, but the detail on this one is so much more compared to the detail on this one. Like there's a significant difference. Again, my 5-year-old does kind of gravitate towards taking these as like his bedtime toy as well. Especially if he can take more than one upstairs too for his bedtime toy. So he really enjoys these. These were a great hit for us. Like I said, he comes back and plays with these all of the time. For his birthday one year, we got him these Schleck dinosaurs. So you can't obviously tell the difference in the like the weight of these, but let me show you again. So this is a Schleck dinosaur. These are, I would say, like, these are going to be way more expensive. Like, I think this one was like $15 or $20, maybe even, I think you can find some that are like $30, but this one is way more heavy duty than like the dollar store one, and you can tell the detail on these. And with these, their mouth also moves, which is like a huge deal for my cowboys. So he picked out these two for his birthday one year, and this one especially, the T-Rex, is a huge favorite with both of my sons. If they're playing with a T-Rex, this is the one that they go to. But like I said, the Schleck, I hope I'm saying that, the brand name correctly. These are a much bigger investment as opposed to like a dollar store or 12 dinosaur assortment. But I mean, if you can tell the difference between the size difference, like that's a huge That's significant. If you have a Lego lover in your home like I do, these were some of the things that I did notice about buying Legos over the course of several years. As my sons have gotten older, they definitely really enjoy the like more complex models, but the models that have like a one build in them, like this one my 7-year-old got for his birthday one year, I think when he was like 6 or so. So he's built this and then it's just stayed in this, and I think he's maybe rebuilt it once since getting it as a birthday gift. Now, of course, your kid may be very different, but I've noticed for him, like if it comes and it's like a one model build, then he'll build it and it will just stay. And like that's the end of like the play for him. Whereas if they have a 3-in-1, like the new sets that have come out, like the 3-in-1 creator Legos, then they will build it, they'll take it apart, they'll rebuild it, they'll build something else, and they will get so many more hours of play out of a 3-in-1 build versus a more complex, like one individual build set. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if your kids are at all like mine in that way. I have also noticed like there's a couple of different like off-brand 3-in-1 Legos. Like we have this one because that way they had different, you know, dinosaur options. And I have noticed from having a couple of other off-brand like Lego bricks, the instructions are not quite as clear, and once you assemble the build, they're not quite as stable as a name brand Lego. I have always in the past, I'm like, I'm not super brand loyal, but now that we've had that experience, like it would be so frustrating for my sons when they try to build and like another brick, and then while they're building it, it's falling apart as they build it because it's not quite as secure as they build. Like that's incredibly frustrating for them. It's frustrating for us as a parent trying to help them. So just keep that in mind if you're not super familiar or have like that brand loyalty. Like I said, I never expected to be super brand loyal, but now that I've gone through that experience, I definitely am. My sons also really enjoyed this space 3-in-1. So he actually my 7-year-old took this to school as like a show and tell. So yeah, they've gotten so much more so many more hours of play out of the creator 3-in-1s as opposed to just a single build like this. And that's not to say that they don't enjoy these, like they get a lot of play out of it after it's assembled, but not quite as much when it comes to actually building. And if you can hear them, they're like playing in the other room, so having a ton of fun. If you don't find any of the fun creator 3-in-1s, there's also the like classic Legos that my sons have really enjoyed. Like this is an example of one of the Lego classic ones that we have. Like I said, we keep all of our tractor toys in there. But when it comes to the classic Lego sets, I really like them as well. They do have instructions for smaller builds, but there's so many online creators on YouTube that has taken like the classic number, because each box has a different like classic number assigned to them, and then they've made a whole bunch of new creations. So we get quite a bit of use out of our classic sets that we'll go online and we'll type in like the box name and then find something unique and new to build. Like this was my 5-year-old just spent quite a bit of time building a transformer. It did kind of it's gotten a little bit of play and use, and he's like, Mom, my transformer broke. Can you help me fix it? So we'll have to look up the instructions to recreate that. But this is an example, like there's a wide range of, different like skill levels when you buy a more classic set. So again, you're limited to like the 3 options in a 3-in-1, whereas if you buy like a classic Lego classic box, you can usually find a lot more options if you're willing to go online and look for them. Outside of just, the creative play, my sons are a little bit more like wanting to follow instructions. They like seeing what the end result is going to be and then working through the instructions that way. But they will also use their classic Lego sets to do just like free building, even though that's not what they personally prefer to like gravitate towards. So if you have a kiddo that's all into the free building, then obviously the classic Lego sets are going to be amazing for them. Now, if you have a kiddo that's a little bit more on the creative side, or if you're looking for something that you can also use with their schooling, one of the things that we have really loved and utilized a lot of are the Magna Doodle boards. I'm like covering my son's name on this side, that's why I'm holding it weird. But we use these obviously just for them to like, if they're going to draw, they will grab these and sit down on the couch and like just draw something, as opposed to like typically going and grabbing like construction paper or white paper or something like that. Like they prefer to draw on this, and this is just the classic black and white one. I know that there are some that have like specific like colors on the board. And then we also really use this for school. So if we're doing any like math, or if we're doing like spelling or anything like that, we will have them grab their Magna Doodle boards, and then we'll like work on the board with them together, as opposed to just like grabbing a piece of paper and then having to make sure it gets into the trash at the end of the night. So we really get a lot of use out of these. My 5-year-old has really enjoyed stickers, and they still are, but one year they were really into like construction vehicles and tractors and stuff. So I got them this reusable sticker pad with the vehicles, and they've loved these. They've gotten tons of hours of play out of this one. And then last year I got them the dinosaur one. Again, can you tell that there's been a theme, either tractors or dinosaurs? And so he just the other day pulled these out, and they spent probably a good 45 minutes just doing stickers. The nice thing about these two is obviously they've got like let me see if I can show you the open scenes. Whoa, as I lose everything. Highly recommend if you have a kiddo in your life that enjoys stickers and dinosaurs. I know that they have like lots of different variations of these. They've got like an under the sea one. I think they have like an animal safari one and jungle one. So you can find a whole bunch of different brands as well. It doesn't have to be these. These are just happen to be the ones that we have history with. And so I was really pleased with how they've held up. With my kids, of course, I want to encourage the love of reading. And so we had a couple of different books that they've gone back to over and over again that I thought I'd share with you. So these were some of our favorites. These are the Wimble books. And these don't actually have any words in them. So this worked out really, as far as like a story. So these worked out really well for when my kids didn't know how to read just yet. What it does is on each page, it follows these characters. There is some reading involved if you want to, like you can, like each character is named. You find a character and then you find them on every single page of the book. And so you might find them in different situations, different scenarios. And so then it also there's some like options on the back of like questions and that like parents can ask your kids as you go through the book to like encourage conversation with your kids and like imaginative play based off of what they're seeing in the scene and the characters around them. So this has been super fun for us. It feels a little bit more like the Where's Waldo without it being so like visually overwhelming. So I've really enjoyed these. They have like construction site and trains and planes and, you know, a whole bunch of different various scenes. So these are just a big favorites for us. Other books that we've really enjoyed are the DK books. So you can find a couple of different options of these DK books, but I think from my experience with them is that they are all nonfiction, but they're all really heavily like pictures, almost like a visual representation of what they're talking about. So with this book in particular, this is Total Tractor. This is like one of the first that we have ever had, so very well loved. And so my cowboys have like followed all of the different farm tractor things, and then there's a whole bunch of facts, which my 7-year-old right now in his at school, they have to like complete a full reading log, like nonfiction, and so these DK books have been really nice for him. And even my 5-year-old, before he could read, and as he's learning to read, like he'll still sit down with these books and just like look at the pictures because they're so visually interesting. Since we're big dinosaur lovers over here, like this is a Smithsonian book. So I recently got this for them. This can kind of give you an idea of what you might find in a similar DK book. So again, really large pictures, and then some facts next to the picture. So yeah, just very visually interesting to look at. Like here's a complete scene. So very, I don't know, even as an adult, like I would sit down and I would like look through this book with them, and it would be interesting to me is what I'm trying to say. So we really like that one. These National Geographic books for kids, the National Geographic kid books, we went ahead and purchased a couple of these. So we've got the Ultimate Oceanpedia and then the Ultimate Bugopedia. And I noticed it's the second edition. So this must have been such a good seller that they updated it. So with these are a little bit different from the DK books. So with these, you'll find like a main topic and then a picture on one page and then the information on the other. So very, like my 5-year-old really also enjoys these because they're, very big pictures, very brightly colored, very big detail. But then my 7-year-old can actually take the time and read all of the facts about that particular picture that it's mirroring. So these are really big hit. I know there's also a dinosaur one if you have a dinosaur lover. So we've really enjoyed those. I know that I'm kind of demonstrating like very specific things, but I don't want you to also lose sight of the fact like you can buy gifts that are secondhand, like any types of these Legos, these bigger ones, like they will still take their time and come in here and build like a scene or build like some random amazing thing out of just like secondhand Legos. Like these are from when my husband was like a kid himself, and maybe these were even hand-me-down. So don't be afraid to like look at your, thrift stores or look at, Facebook Marketplace or some place, local. My kids also got these. This is called a marble work set. And so my 5-year-old really enjoys like creating different different, what is the right word? Like funnels for all of these little marbles to go through. And again, this is something that you wouldn't necessarily find online. Like you could probably find some version new of it online, but like you might find an entire box of one of these at a thrift store for relatively inexpensive. That is going to give your kid an open-ended option to create lots of different things. That's going to take a lot of their time and attention, and it's going to give them a lot of different creative new ways to play with that activity, not just like, oh, it's a one-time experience and then you're done with it. My kids have gotten a lot of use out of like the Marble Works and the bigger Legos and the Hot Wheels, and they sometimes will combine all of those like things to make a whole like landscape and scene.
So what is this?
Jurassic World.
This is Jurassic World?
You mean Jurassic Park? I mean Jurassic Park. Daddy,
Jurassic
robot
Park?
dinosaurs.
Robot dinosaurs? Well, why do you need robot dinosaurs if there's real dinosaurs?
Because they're rides.
Oh, are they rides? Oh, okay, that's creative. Very cool, guys.
I think the big thing, like all of us, like we want to give something that our kids are going to enjoy. And we feel sometimes like there's this expectation of, oh, if I buy them this toy, like it's going to keep their time and attention, and they won't need anything else. No toy is ultimately going to entertain them, and they're going to be completely satisfied and won't need any more toys in the future. But I do look for toys that I think that will entertain them and give them creative options for a longer duration of time than just a single use toy that's like, oh, this is only a plane and it only does this thing and it doesn't do anything else. Now, are those toys still fun? Yes. But sometimes it's helpful to have like lots of different options that you can do with one toy other than just be limited to one activity. So if you have any other suggestions, I would love if you would drop them down below, especially as moms are and we're looking for like, what should we maybe want to consider for our own families at Christmas. And later on, once I do my own shopping, I'll come back and show you what I did decide to get for my kids for Christmas. But hopefully we'll hang out again soon.